Take your time, no rush.
Hey, no rush, right? Hey, welcome everybody to MSP Business School. My name's Brian Doyle. I'm your host as always. And today I've got with me the Connectwise PitchIT team. As many of you know, we're in PitchIT season once again as we're gearing up for IT Nation Connect, and the finalists were recently announced. And to kick off kind of our time with the PitchIT crew, we're inviting the team behind the scenes to today's podcast. Many of you know Sean Lardo, their Associate Evangelism Director over at IT Nation, but some of you might not know Andrea Barrow and Sam Hoyen. Andrea is a Senior Manager of the Event Program and Partners, and Sam is relatively new to the PitchIT team, coming in as an intern this year and really kind of taking the organization of this program up to another level. So I want to thank the three of you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So PitchIT is here. Finalists have been selected. Maybe we can do a quick look back and tell me, how'd the program go this year? And, what was the run up to the finals looking like?
What do you want to start with?
Why don't we start with you, Sean, since you kind of had the day-to-day there, and then we'll get some of the behind-the-scenes look of things.
Sure. So actually, it's been a good year. I think, you were in this last year, so you had a chance to see firsthand. I think one thing we've been blessed with, and I've been bringing this up often, is it's not just one segment of business that's represented in the finalists, which like 3 years ago, Andrew and I sat down and talked about it, and we were kind of concerned that the sexiest of the sexy of solutions would be represented fully and nobody else, like cybersecurity or AI, right? And I think it's proven that we were wrong, which is great. It's good to see it, but it's also good to watch that. And people like you, Brian, and the year before, you guys kind of set the tone for this year, where they had to be much better. So a lot of these guys came into the competition a little bit crisper than the first year that Andrew and I were running this. Then year two was better, and now year three and that's because they had a chance to watch you all perform, which is good. So the three finalists, again, being from three different segments of the industry, they're all complementary to one another, of course, but they're really good. And it's a European guy too, which UK guy being in.
Well, we're all about the UK guy because that's who I'm coaching this year. So, Daniel Ellis over at PowerSafe PC, that's your front runner already. But tell us who else we've got in here, Sean.
So yeah, that was really nice of you to do a shameless plug for yourself with them.
Always do.
Win. But then we also have Zach from Sention and we have Doug from CPOD Cyber. Wow. I've only said this 700 times in the last several days.
How could you forget the seed pod outfit that Doug owns? An actual seed pod on the front of his shirt there. That has certainly burned into my memory, and I love
it. The green screen suit, I assume we're talking about from Secure.
It's something to say the least. But actually, can we just really acknowledge the fact that when Doug shows up at pitch, he dresses like David Hasselhoff essentially, and like literally first thing I thought, I was like, dude, who is this guy? Because he slicks his hair back a little bit, but he's got that coif, he's got the sports jacket on. He's like just a more distinguished David Hasselhoff all of a sudden. But enough about Doug and his personal fashion, perfection.
It's for another show.
It's another show. It's PitchIT the runway, which we'll do in the future. So. No, the thing about this is that between three contestants, Doug is probably the most senior of the group, and you can tell by the way he carries himself. Matter of fact, he's probably similar to you, Brian, in a way, personality-wise.
Sean's nice way of saying I'm old, right?
It's maturity. It's experience.
Yeah, well, we'll go with that, right?
That's where I was about to say. Thank you, Andrea. You completely. No, exactly. And Doug's really good about that, where Zach is this young, vibrant guy, man, that's bouncing everywhere, man. He knows his stuff. He's on it. He loves it. But if I compare the two, Doug is a better storyteller. Whereas I think Zach has way more charisma just because of his youth and he's excited about it all, And then right in the middle is Daniel. And Daniel is like, he's Professor X with hair before he got bald and handicapped, and he looks just like him and he talks like him and he's like elegant. And he's very good about storytelling too. So I'm excited about all three, let's be honest.
Well, I think that's one of the great things I see about the program, right, too, at least being somebody that went through it, everybody comes with a different experience level, but everybody has something to gain in this program, both between, the different speakers you guys bring in that can help us really, kind of tackle different things within our business to, what we talked about a lot, Sean, when you and I've talked about this, being vulnerable, humble, and letting others kind of give you a sense of what's going on in your business that you might not even recognize. And it's fun to see those different people, right? The Dougs and me who have been on stages before and gotten to speak and do that. Obviously, we're not having the same level of butterflies that somebody might be new to this is having about getting right out in front. And then you take somebody like Zach, right? Zach is obviously brilliant from a technical perspective, right? How do you harness the tech talk and make it into something that's going to resonate with an audience, right? And do it in well, I know Zach likes a few choice 4-letter words, but doing it in a way that, is PG friendly when it comes time to do the show, right? So it's fun to see.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And then again, and there's Daniel.
Yeah. Well, Daniel's polished and in a different kind of way, but I think a lot of that, we're giving Daniel a lot of boost here too, but we'll remind Daniel, you English guys always sound good to us because it just sounds
so refined.
Yeah, you sound smarter than we from day one.
Yeah, it's like James Bond and a blend of everything. It's like everything I wanted to be when I was a kid.
So Sam, you're the new guy on the team this year. This is your first time going through this. What did you think of the experience as somebody new on the team? Was there any surprises for you in this process?
I mean, to start, obviously, it's a great opportunity to be a part of, especially for somebody to see all these up and coming vendors and getting a chance to put themselves out there. But I mean, from the research I've done in years prior, this is probably the most involved and more competitive groups that we've had with PitchIT, just their involvement on LinkedIn, and even seeing some stuff like the Crow's Nest at ChannelCon was something that we were able to put together that I did amazing things, whether or not the companies that were involved with that made it through to the finals. Just it's a lot of fun to be a part of something like this, and to get that exposure is, at such a young age is something that I'm looking forward to putting towards next year's competition, the years after that, and however long I'm able to be involved with all this.
Yeah, I think you just touched upon one of the biggest things that I think most of us that have gone through this process have really seen. You can build a community with people that are at kind of a similar stage to you in the process. While there's certainly folks that are really early in their growth cycle, and then some of us that had a couple of years under our belt when we came into the program, the reality is the majority of the group's bootstrapped. The majority of the group is still trying to find their way into where product, price, and fit fill. And it's kind of cool to have that community around you where hey, these guys are kind of fighting the same battles that I'm fighting too. Andrea, I don't know if you've gotten any feedback on that or your thoughts on, kind of what the community's been like from your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the most rewarding parts of the program is getting to see the community of these new startups really formulating, right? And, you've touched on this a bit already. We're working with companies of various maturity levels and sizes and experiences, but everyone is getting something out of this program. And I think absolutely at the end of the day, if you can walk away with anything, and it's at least having a community of folks who are going through very similar scenarios as you are in a startup environment, right? Sam touched on it with the Crow's Nest. I don't think I've seen anything as successful as the Crow's Nest was this year at CompTIA through the PitchIT program. I had a little bit of FOMO, or maybe a lot of FOMO, not being able to be on site there and experience it in firsthand. But to be able to hear the stories that came of it, actual valuable connections and networking happen there. Yes, I'm sure there may have been an adult beverage or two that was consumed and enjoyed. However, the conversations that were had around that event are long lasting and are connections that people now are going to take throughout the rest of their business career. So being able to see that piece of community come to light is super valuable. And my history with Connectwise, I started actually on our community team, building out our user groups and getting partners together and connecting to see that really be, next phase of community evolving. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, I would say from, my seat, that's something you guys really should keep an eye on too. Sean, when you're looking at different statistics of how to measure success of this program, look at some of the partnerships that get made between different companies. I look at just our company, right? VCIO Toolbox and Nodeware. We went into that program building an integration, which built a better relationship with us. And we do a lot of co-marketing and things like that together. And certainly, I'm citing them, but I'm doing that with 4 or 5 people from my PitchIT cohort, and even started doing with some of the folks I've met in this year's PitchIT, just being kind of available in the periphery. So, one of the things that I think, is sometimes unseen to the public is a lot of good technology and a good innovation comes out of the relationships that get made during PitchIT beyond, the program, the pitch, and the prizes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. And yes, Andrew, I'm glad you had FOMO. Next time you come, I don't know why you wouldn't just come along. But yes, CompTIA, ChannelCon, Crow's Nest was great. But yeah, going back to even the first year that we were doing this, when all 3 finalists sponsored the pre-day and did a pre-day together. And the best part about it was they did a pre-day and finished up the pre-day and then went right over to compete against each other. So as they were all hugging and kumbaya in a room, saying how awesome each other were, then they went and put their face on and went after each other basically for the finals. I think the lesson for this everybody needs to understand is that not one company succeeds on its own. And even with competitors, whether they're a competitor in the fact of offering a similar solution or competing against you in the finals at PitchIT, there's enough business to go around, and with enough goodwill and effectiveness, you're all going to succeed and generate some sort of revenue regardless, unless you just shut yourself off completely. If you're closed off, you will never make any progress. And I'm sorry, but most of these guys, most of the women that are running these companies, they're bootstrapped. They don't have money like Coca-Cola and Pepsi to sponsor the Super Bowl ad. You don't have that. So you should enjoy your time, make really good friends, and generate really good business out of it.
Yeah, but you're hitting on some of the good points. When you look at it from a competitor standpoint, of course we all want to win, right? Everybody wants the bragging rights coming out of that, but really it was the opportunity to get there and get better that most of us came into the PitchIT program looking for. And for those of us that were bootstrapping, it gave us the lift up of having Connectwise, kind of pushing and rising our tide a little bit too, by allowing us to promote using their platforms to get that visibility along the way. So, I'll be very candid. When we went into PitchIT, we were like, all right, this will be good for 6 months. And then we got fortunate enough to make the finals. And there was another month and a half of extra leverage going into the show. So, definitely compete hard to get in the finals because there's a benefit there. But the truth is, all 3 of us on the stage, we became friends, friendly, groups there. Yeah, we all wanted to win, but that wasn't the end all be all of the game. We all wanted to put a good showing. We all wanted to get people coming in being happy with our products and coming to see them, right? That's really the goal.
Absolutely. Well, again, and that's, so, I always say Andrea is the boss because she is the boss. Just so we're clear. So when her and I first sat down 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, to figure out what was going on, it was kind of like we looked at what happened in years past, and we went and the things we wanted to stress was this was going to be an educational piece, still a competition, but there has to be tons of collaboration. And Connectwise and IT Nation as a whole kind of embraced a good bit of things we were doing. Some things I think they just didn't want to know we were doing, so that was better for us. But the things they did embrace were giving us the ability to do collaborative sponsorships and togetherness, because there's a big difference. If your budget for the year is $100,000, you can spend that in 2 shows. You can spend that in 1 show. I mean, really. So let alone if you can do more than 1 show or even the big shows and be able to sponsor extra stuff. So, the collaboration was so crucial, and that's why we kind of force you guys all to be on live streams together and podcasts together, and we want you kind of, we want you to talk. We want you to talk about how awesome you are. You should have a swagger to you, and we want everybody to have a swagger, because you're not going to raise your game unless. If I watch you and you're crushing it and you have swagger, I'm annoyed, and now I have to go do better and I have to be.
Yeah, I mean, those are the things that you got to look at. We've talked about it, Sean, you and I, in the past, but you need that humbling 30-second pitch where you realize, I just got smoked, and I got to go do something about this, right? And and I always come back to, for me, it's like, hey, I'm a guy that thought I could just show up and wing it because that's what I can do in many situations, but in this one, it took time, and that's a big part of what I'm coaching to. Know your timing. It's not about the content now. If you don't know your content coming into the finals and what your flow should be, you're in trouble. But know where you are in timing, know where you need to be in timing as you're up there, because you're going to be more nervous on the stage. Make sure you're not going too quick or too slow. And remember, when it's all over, there's questions and answers coming your way too. So it isn't done with the pitch.
But I love that you bring up getting smoked in your 30 seconds, because you got smoked.
Oh, smoked hard, man. Smoked hard. I pretty much resigned. So, for those listeners that haven't heard this story before, Tiffany Hinks of Hackware, who is about as smooth as they come, pitches on the regular. She came in and Sean said, let's do a 30-second pitch. Well, I'll be the first guy to say, I don't have a 30-second pitch. I had a minute pitch if I was lucky, right? Because that's where we were at. And Tiffany came in just smooth as silk. Told you exactly what she was going to solve, why she was going to solve it, and why you should care, and drop the mic on at the 30th second.
Yep.
And I was just like, and I'm like, okay, before I even get started, man, I just got smoked. And then I went into my pitch, but it was, it was crazy, but it did tell me, she is somebody that had already determined what her 30 seconds was going to be, and it made me work to a 30 second, a 1 minute, and a 5 minute.
Absolutely. And Brian's response was, I do things people need. They need me. I'm a people person. That was his pitch, basically.
Come on, there was no way I said people person, man. That would be the one that I would throw out completely. No. I know
the people once. I do things with people.
I swear to God, I bring the papers to the engineers, man.
Thank you.
I'm a people person. Nah, but she was fantastic. And, I think everybody during our program had that moment where they realized, hey, this isn't going to be just a swag at it, right? And I don't think I came into it feeling it was going to be, hey, I could just show up and throw up and be fine. But I don't think you really looked at the different conditions. If you think it differently, Sean put me on the spot for a 30-second one, because that's what that media event would allow, right? We couldn't do 5 minutes in a podcast format. So you better be able to have a pitch for all your different ways you might be approaching the media, right? Your soundbite, your 30-second pitch, your 1 minute pitch, and then your more traditional elevator pitch when the time allows for it. And I think that's a big part of what comes out of PitchIT too, is prepare for the unexpected, because there are different ways you're going to get engaged as a business owner, especially if you're a new business owner, and this is new to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what's nice though is when I'm working with us all, and for Andrea's side, she, like I said, she's the boss, so she calmly addresses all the needs and concerns of the PitchIT vendors. But she represents the invent side of things, right? Which is where all you guys go through stuff. There's that level of credibility that you need. As a startup, you don't have any clout on day one. You have to buy and earn your clout, right?
No.
And you have to be involved in stuff. So the good thing about Andrea and her team is they're able to put them in a position to actually do more, to reinvest. If you're not investing in a space, you're not investing in the community, nobody pays attention to you.
So, Sean, let's pivot there with Andrea a little bit and, talk about the Invent program and what that really means. Because, PitchIT is really just the start of the growth in the relationship. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that. So, folks that are thinking about becoming a vendor or are new vendors that haven't been involved in PitchIT can understand a little bit more about Invent's relationship as well.
Yeah, for sure. So the Invent program is really designed to help provide vendors or startups, or really any vendor who has a desire to work with Connectwise through product integrations, to really give them a pathway to do so. So it's getting to work directly with our technical teams to really take a consultative approach to integrations. What could your solution integrate into within the Connectwise stack that is going to be meaningful to an MSP? How can you help create value via integration directly to our mutual MSP partners? And through that process, you're fully supported as a development vendor. We're really providing the guidance that you and your team need to build a valuable integration out. All event vendors who write integrations into the Connectwise platform go through a security review where we're really working to identify and mitigate any potential risks or potential exploitation points that a bad actor might take advantage of. So we do static code testing via a third-party organization on that. And then at the end of the day, we give you the Connectwise stamp of approval and you are an officially certified integrator. So the value to you as a vendor there is really getting that helping support, more of a white glove experience when it comes to integration with Connectwise. But then additionally, the partners who are now going to be utilizing that integration have peace of mind knowing that it's been through a security review. It's certified by Connectwise. It's supported by Connectwise, meaning if a partner comes to use that integration and for some reason it's not working as intended, they have an escalation path to the Connectwise team for assistance. So we're really trying to help, not only help our vendors be built up in this space through their certified integrations and make our partners aware of them, but really trying to ensure that the partner feels supported through using certified integrations as well.
Yeah, and I want to highlight, where that's actually helped us a couple times so that, users can get a sense of how a vendor can interact. We were having an issue where there was a subtle permission change that wouldn't allow our integration to pass opportunities through. We would have been troubleshooting that on our own. I couldn't even guess how long, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we were able to go to our direct support team. They were able to look at, what we were seeing as an error code. And within 20 minutes, they were like, oh, we need to add this. Fantastic. So that was a problem that we were able to, avert. That would have been, community wise for us. And we were able to take care of it in minutes and really get the team back on track. The other thing is the security or the code review is key for young upstarts. Most bootstrap companies don't have these high level security folk on their team yet that can analyze that, and being able to put the code through a security review, have an independent group look at it and tell us where there are some things that we might need to undertake. That's invaluable too, because that's certainly our biggest concern and one of our biggest risks as younger vendors. Yeah. Hey, do we have things crossed off? So that alone has really made the event program something important for us.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
It's great.
It is.
I agree. I can't stress enough the importance of being able to have a program you can be part of that keeps checks and balances for you, also helps you remediate the issues, as well as provide some level of credibility.
Well, guys, we're getting near the end of our time. Anything that you want to say to anybody as we go to wrap up? We'll start with you down in the corner, Sam.
Ooh, I would say start working on applying to PitchIT for next year already. And if you're going to IT Nation Connect, come watch the finalists, get a feel for everything going on, and take that time to apply, because with the way that this program's going, it's going to be special. So.
I agree with that, Sam. If you're down there, come support the people that are in this program. Both you guys as the behind the house, but the folks pitching too. It was great pitching to a full room of people last year, and I expect that room only to be more full as more people become aware of it. Plus Sean's good enough to bring some cocktails into the mix too. So.
Yeah, that's Andrea. She's the boss.
Is that your spot, Andrea? I should have known better. Andrea, anything you want to close out with today?
Yeah, I want to say congratulations and thank you to our entire cohort this year. We had 26 companies show up every single week for 16 weeks and really put in the time and effort to work on the business versus in their business. And, finalists or not, everyone did an incredible job. And I'm just so proud and grateful for the participation this year. So congratulations to everyone who went through this year's cohort, and really thank you for showing up. Makes a difference.
How about you, Sean? Anything to close out with?
I figure whether you're a vendor or an MSP, you should be paying attention to these things anyway, for a couple of reasons. One, as a vendor, the three major pillars we cover, which is increasing your network size, educating you to be able to do an actually value proposition and to relate your messaging, along with the ability to increase your brand awareness. Are three pillars that you stand on to grow your business to become scalable. So that's on one side. MSPs, you should pay attention because you're always crying about not having access to them. Or you have access to them. So stop crying about it and watch them and support them. And also over 60-70% of them that are in this competition, or they either are currently or were MSPs. So they're actually your peers. So why would you not support them and be able to have an impact on the route that they take as far as a business is concerned? You know, and last but not least, why would you not anyway? Because it's kind of fun. It's actually a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun you'll have at the event in general, because it is much more exciting as a competition as opposed to being some boring, dry keynote. God, everybody wants to hear about. Anyway, we should be in the keynote room, but that's a whole separate conversation for another time. But yeah, you should be supporting them. You should be watching them. And for the finalists, you guys better bring your A game, because everybody's going to, you're out here to win. At the end, we can all be friends all day long. But when you go up on stage, you're by yourself. The other two are just watching you in your room.
Hey, look, Marvin's great, and I'm glad he provides knives, but I was really happy I wasn't the one taking them home.
Did you see the look on Matthew's face holding them? It was like the look of disappointment. He looked like my dog when she got surgery and had the cone on her head, the cone of shame.
Yep.
It was like the knives of shame.
Yep. So thank you, Marvin, for the knives, but none of us really want them. All right, guys. Well, this is just the kickoff for, the PitchIT prep process. We're looking forward to getting the other 3 finalists on in coming weeks. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Sean, Sam, Andrea, thank you for joining me as well. And I'll see you all down at IT Nation.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Thank you.